Good evening. This is Thad from the Reference and Readers Advisory Department with the Rawlings Library. And thanks for joining me again for another edition of Food Time, or as I think I'm going to rename it, Walk Time. Um, uh, Anyways, tonight's recipe is called, I just had my finger in the book here. I lost it. It's Helen Chen's pork and cucumber. Um, and it comes from the book, yeah, there it is, uh, Helen Chen's Pork and Cucumber, and it comes from The Breath of Wok um, by Grace Young and Alan Richardson. Um, this is a dish that can be used, in the book it suggests it as part of a multi-course meal, but did this as a main dish for a dinner a few nights ago. And it's a really nice kind of lighter wok dish, um, and ended up just serving it on top of steamed rice. But anyways, let's get started here, and I will switch to the videos. And let me switch back here real quick. So I wasn't able to film the cutting of the pork and the marinating process. I'll just read over that piece real quick though. And what we used were, we used 3 pork chops and just sliced the meat into about quarter to half-inch chunks. Um, And so what you do with the pork is, it says here, in a shallow bowl, combine the pork, rice wine, cornstarch, soy sauce, sesame oil, which realized didn't have at the time, so we just used olive oil, and half a teaspoon of salt. And then I added an ingredient. I added a quick pour of some beer, specifically Fat Tire, just to give it a little bit more flavor. Um, so we'll start with the cutting of the vegetables. And so this recipe calls for um, half an English cucumber, um, rather than one of those real long English cucumbers. Have these smaller ones, and we used I think I have 4 out here, but I think I may have only cut up 3 of them. But anyways, you cut it in half and then just cut it into these 1/4-inch slices. I'll kind of speed this up a little here. And it helps me to set the cut up vegetables aside in a bowl. And in addition to that, so there's the half an English cucumber, and then you'll also use 1 medium red bell pepper, and this was more of a large red bell pepper. It's a pretty good sized pepper. Um, and what you do into that is just cut it into about 1/4-inch wide strips, as we'll see here in a second. And I've never stir fried cucumber or had them in a stir fry, and was a little interested in how this would turn out, and it ended up being really good. And see, just getting the core of the pepper removed, and just do some kind of roughly, I just kind of eyeballed it, but about 1/4-inch strips. want to try and keep them all roughly the same size because they'll cook more evenly that way, especially in a wok when you're cooking with such high heat. And you don't want some pieces to sear more than others. You want it to all be pretty even. Alright, so that's the cutting of the vegetables. Alright, so let's see. Okay, and so now over high heat, have the wok heating. And yeah, it gets real smoky. Just a video of smoke here until I add the marinated pork. And you also you couldn't see it because of the smoke, but swirled in a little olive oil into the hot wok. And then what I sprinkled on the pork there was garlic powder. I didn't realize until later that I was out of fresh garlic, so just improvised and used garlic powder. But then, yeah, just getting a good sear on each piece of the meat. Try to let it sear evenly, and then just move it around a little bit and give it a little toss. And of course, while that's happening, it's also absorbing a lot of that smoke and getting a nice smoky flavor to it. And then here I'm just adding a little chicken broth to kind of help the pork cook through and prevent sticking. There's a little sticking here, but which we'll see in the next video. Let's go ahead and skip to the final part. Okay, and so then, yeah, it's still, as you can see, there's still some sticking there. But let's see, hold on.
This was a high-profile case in 81. He was sentenced in 91.
Okay.
Would there be a periodical with this guy, like year-end news of the year?
Possibly in.
There's got to be an easy way to find a photograph of this guy.
Yeah, possibly in the vault. I would once again check with Aaron over here. Let's see. Sorry, had a technical difficulty here. I think the internet lapsed. Let's see. Stand by. Okay. Let's Okay, sorry about that. We'll get going again here in a second, and I'll show that last video. See, yeah, connection went kind of wonky. Okay, so uh, yeah, you see a little bit of sticking from the marinade from the pork, but that's okay here. And then just added some more oil, olive oil in this case, and we'll start by adding um, the vegetables and just let them get a good sear. Give it a nice toss. And in addition to, or once these have cooked, and you want to let the cucumber and the pepper cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, just so it starts to get kind of soft. Um, but after the 2 to 3 minutes, um, let's skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so then after 2 to 3 minutes, you'll add the pork, which is probably about 3/4 of the way cooked at this point, and then add some chicken broth, and then that was about a quarter teaspoon of sugar, maybe a little more, but um, that just gives it the sweetness. And then just adding a little more salt, and then just mix that and let everything blend really well. And the chicken broth just kind of helps the pork finish cooking all the way through. You definitely don't want uh, rare pork or undercooked pork. And we'll go ahead and stop that clip. Okay, and so that's um, a basic dish that you can do on your own at home. And um, this is just a picture from the cookbook, but not, wait, there we go. Not like I should have taken a picture of um, this finished dish and didn't think to. Um, so that's a book that you can check out from our collection. A couple others. Uh, I requested a few other cookbooks focused on wok cooking, and we have a couple more here that you can place on hold. Uh, wok uh, Wok Chinese. It's a cookbook for beginners by Lim Chu, and then the Essential Wok Cookbook. And I'm thinking for May we'll probably do something out of this cookbook here. Um, but yeah, thanks for tuning in this evening, um, and thanks for dealing with the technical difficulties, and we'll catch you back for this next month. Thank you.